Hi, welcome to Father Lastone Robert Lupupa SJ program titled Conversations with Fr Lupupa. I'm very excited that today I'm not just talking alone to you, but I have somebody to accompany me or to probe the thinking, probe the feelings behind this program as we hold these conversations. By the way, these conversations is between you, my dear viewer out there, and myself. I am speaking to your spirit and you are responding in the spirit. This is a conversation that is going on because everything that we're discussing here are from life experience. Welcome to my friend, my beautiful guest, Mwangala Santos.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on Conversations with Fr Lastone Lupupa. I was so looking forward to having this conversation with you and to the viewers out there. Thank you so much.
Lovely. What are we talking about today?
I think today let's talk about reality.
Reality, for real, eh?
For real. What is this thing we call reality?
Yeah.
Like, did this happen in reality?
Exactly.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, my friends out there, reality is something that we are confronted with every day. In fact, what you are looking for in life is the real thing. You don't want something that is fake. You want the actual. Is there a definition? Did you check on the definition of reality?
I did, actually. When we said we're going to talk about reality, I said, what is this reality? And may I just read
yes.
for you? Because it was from the dictionary. I said, I'm going to type it out and I'm going to read.
Wonderful.
So, as per the dictionary, it says, the state of things as they actually exist, as opposed to an idealistic or notional idea of them. I went ahead to pick the second one, which stated that the state of quality of having existence or substance.
The state of quality of having existence or substance. Now, it is important to discuss reality because if you are not in the real world, if you are not experiencing life as it is presenting itself to you in reality, then you are in the illusion.
Exactly.
You are in the fake. And you cannot arrive at a conclusion if the premise, meaning that if the first thought is not true, in fact reality is associated to truth and the truth is reality, if in the first instance of just looking at a thing and you have not understood what it is and you arrive at a conclusion. So reality is something that is very powerful,
True.
Something that is very important in our lives. And I was just reflecting about the very reality and I came to a conclusion that perhaps 1% of life, what we are seeing, what we are smelling, what we are tasting, what we are hearing, what we are touching, the five senses are not reality. They are just in the mere experience. The reality is beyond your five senses, meaning that your eyes are not seeing the whole picture.
Yeah.
Look at what the microscopes have done. The microscopes have helped us to see beyond the naked eye. So the naked eye is presenting what you're seeing as a reality. But the microscope will multiply and show you the inside of that which your naked eye is falling on. When you go to the lab and you take a blood slide, you are seeing the blood. It is red in color. And it tastes blood.
True. Whatever that means.
Whatever that means.
Yeah.
And then the biomedician will put it under the microscope.
Yeah.
And now he will see the reality of blood. And he will multiply and begin to see that which has affected you, infected you, and in this pandemic it could be COVID-19,
yeah.
It could be malaria, parasites, and they will see them, and because they have understood what they are, then they will deal with the reality of your condition. So what is the condition? My condition is that I have a fever. My condition is that I have a headache. Now, just by symptoms, you cannot know the reality. What is behind these symptoms?
Sure.
So it is after that it's only after you have gone beyond the naked eye that you begin to see the reality.
For what it is.
But as a spiritual person, I want to go beyond what the microscope can see. Meaning, what? Supposing the microscope continued to expand, what will we see?
Exactly.
I don't know whether you have it.
Yeah. You know, I like that you've really broken it down to simplicity.
Exactly.
You know, you've talked about reality, you've talked about illusion, and a lot of us don't know that this life, all these things we see, is just an illusion.
It's an illusion.
You know, it is not true. But maybe the question we must be asking ourselves is, if it is not true, then what is our reality? Our reality is something that we create.
Wonderful.
And we live a reality that is created by us. So how then do we create this reality? How do you turn this illusion into a reality?
So that is the agenda that each one of us should have, and that is the mission. The mission I have is to convert illusions into reality.
Yeah.
I am here to help the other, my friends, including myself, to go down to where the things begin from, to what the thing is. You know, I one day said, you meet Fr Lupupa, but you haven't met me until you meet the Lupupa-ness.
Like the way you bring it out. Until you meet the Mwangala-ness.
Mwangala-ness. That which does not change,
True.
that which is stable, that which, exists forever.
Yeah.
I am changing. If somebody met you, you are Fr Lupupa. Oh, you are Lastone. He was with me at Wacha Secondary School as head boy. You have changed. Yes.
True. Yeah.
Physiologically, I've changed, but there is something that doesn't change. Like water. Water has these three states in which it exists. You put water there, and you come 2 days, 3 days, you find the water has disappeared. Who has taken my water?
Yeah.
Well, it has just evaporated. It has changed its state into vapor.
Yeah.
But there is something that does not change about water, and that is its chemical composition. So chemistry, physics, these sciences are helping us to understand reality, but only as far as experience is concerned. But we have to go into what we have called metaphysics, beyond the physical, meaning that things exist beyond our experience of them. True. And why is it important then to understand what I'm referring to as metaphysics? It's because we rush into conclusions. Yeah. Just meeting you for the first time,
you're already concluding.
I talk to you and I hear you're Miss Santos as, you are from Mozambique.
Exactly. True.
Okay?
Yeah.
And supposing somebody, has a bad experience of a father. And then I introduce myself as Fr Lupupa. Immediately the father appears into their vocabulary. They begin to freeze and they say, wow, he must be a bad person. Why? Because they had an experience with the Father. So meaning our dictionary, our point of reference in our minds is full of things that have not been checked, things that have not been dealt with, things that are illusions, because they're not giving you an opportunity to face that person, that experience as it is.
Yeah.
Instead of reading the experience into what it is objectively, but you are coming with all these biases, and then you have missed the reality. You have missed the quiddity, the whatness of a thing.
And we do miss that many times. You know, talking about reality and talking about illusion, I like this so much because we can actually bring it down to practicality, you know.
Precisely.
Problems, challenges for tomorrow, it's just an illusion because there's no tomorrow. There's only now.
There's no now.
You know? But most of us live out there. That's why we're saying it's an illusion, because we are in the future. But there's no future. There's now.
Exactly.
There's just this present moment. I think which brings us to now talk about how then do you create your reality? This is where now we talk about thoughts. This is where we talk about emotions, because that is what creates your reality, your now.
Your now.
You know.
In fact, when you talk about time, time as an illusion, with the modern technology where we are able to capture time, freeze it, file it on in MBs and gigabytes.
True.
Okay, so this show, for instance, can be recorded and then rebroadcasted on TV or on the social media, and the person who is watching it, it might be showing live.
True.
And the person says, wow, Father Lupupa is on TV
now.
And then after a few minutes they call you, I saw you on TV. I says, no, that is 2 days ago.
True.
So now time becomes an illusion because you can't capture it. It is only now. And then we tried. This is not a very good thing to disclose because I was very tired on this particular day. So now tomorrow I'm going to have mass. So why don't I say the mass for tomorrow now?
Yeah.
So that it will be played tomorrow. And then the people, when they tune in, they will think Father Lupupa is celebrating the mass now.
Meanwhile,
and yet Father Lupupa is sleeping. Now something happened. You see, and this is where we are heading in this conversation, that there is an aspect of me which is fine-tuned to the reality of things. Beyond my use of the five senses, there is an aspect of me that, you know, connects to reality. And so when somebody is watching this TV, there is mass, they just feel, you know, they are not connecting. It's not happening.
It's a bit vague, you know.
And then my producer said, you know what, Father Lupupa, we discovered something. That when the mass is real live, there are so many followers. When you put this mass, which was recorded, there were very few followers. Now
because there's no connection.
That was powerful. That was powerful. You know, you cannot. The illusions are what in technological world, in the material world, are plastic. What is plastic? Plastic is an imitation of the real thing. So we have flowers, roses, that are plastic, and they look
so
real.
Nice and
a tree that looks real. Now the birds of the air, they will come, they will look at the flowers, but they will not be attracted to them. Why? Because they are missing something. It's not just the flower, the color, but there is the nectar. There is the smell that comes with the flower. So when we pretend, when we are watching TV, we are watching a movie, there are some people who say, I don't like this. They are just acting. That is not real. Well, you know that is not real. It's not reality. But did you know that every day of your life is not real?
True.
That every day you're on stage?
Yeah, we're acting, sure. You know, now talking about these masses, I think what strikes me the most now as you're talking, as you're sharing now, is that There's always an energy that is around,
Precisely.
around a person. There's this aura of some kind of energy. And when that is not present, somebody can be watching you and you are thinking, oh, this is Father Lupupa. But because Father Lupupa is not there, hence that energy, that aura around him is not there.
In real
and
time.
somehow there's no connection, exactly. And somehow there's no connection. So why do you think we go about in this life acting?
Pretending.
I like that. So why do we pretend?
We are pretending because we have not understood the effectiveness of reality. And I think this program is to make our dear viewer out there, and those of you who will be listening perhaps to an audio of this program, that life has to be lived in its concrete.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you are just on the surface, if you reduce yourself to the message that you have read on the phone, and you forget that that is only 0.9% of the whole truth.
True.
Okay? You look at me and you think you have encountered me. You have only encountered 1% of who I am. In this conversation that we have had for the last few minutes, and you think you have come to know me. No, you have only come to know 0.009% of the totality of who I am. Because even myself, I'm still discovering who I am. Talk about the medical world. How long it takes for a medical doctor to study the physiology, the anatomy, and up to now they haven't understood. Look at how we're discussing the genome. I don't know, there's the genome or the structure of the virus called COVID-19. For us to find
and understand what's happening.
They have to do a research, and it has to take long.
True, because it keeps mutating.
It keeps changing.
Yeah, it keeps changing.
So meaning that reality is, when we come to the reality, is when we can say this is what it is. And then because it is like this, then we can move it to here. If you came to understand who I am and appreciated who I am, then you have absolute control over my life. And who can do that? Only God.
True.
The rest of us, including yourself, you are slipping off your fingers. That's why you would wake up and say, but why did I do that?
Exactly.
Why am I thinking like this? Why am I feeling like this? You're not in touch with your emotions. You have not understood why you're feeling, oh, today I'm moody. I don't know why I woke up like this.
You're feeling that way too.
It's because reality is something that is deeper than experience. What is experience? Experience is based on the five senses. It is locked in time and space. And we have just discussed that reality can be outside space and time, because time is an illusion. Time is a human construction. When you go to planet Mars, here on Earth, I am 50 plus 4. On Mars, I may be 600 years old.
True. So does it mean...
Or I may not even be born.
Exactly. Yeah. So does it mean that our existence is in 3 different forms? Would we
yes,
talk about
dimension.
That? Yeah.
The 3D.
So we are here, and then I'm there, and I'm also there, but all at the same time.
So the reality of who we are is that we are body, soul, and spirit.
That's our reality.
Okay. Now, often we have reduced ourselves only to the body, that which is tangible, that is which is experiential.
True.
Okay, and that is why we talk about death as something that is very tragic. It's like somebody has ceased to exist, and yet it is only an aspect.
True.
When we look at a car, it has crashed. One aspect of looking at an accident is that there's insurance, they can buy you another one. Another aspect is that you can take the remains of the car and crash them and come up with scrap metal, and life continues. Okay, so there is this aspect of me, the inner being. Now, what I wanted to talk about reality is there is the physical, the experiential, and the non-physical. The non-physical is what we have referred to, or what we refer to as the spirit.
Yeah, the spirit side.
The spirit. Now, that is very important, because it is this aspect of me, the non-physical, which remains, which is real about me.
And that
everything else is changing except this aspect of me. And this aspect of me is the God aspect, the individuated God in me. And this is why, there is a divine aspect of each one of us. And this is the soul which you and me possess and which you and me have in common. We are made up of the same material.
True.
Okay.
So we are cut off from the same cloth. We all
exactly.
come from one big
because God wanted us to be different and enjoys
so that he could,
difference.
So that he can have different attributes in all of us, but we're still one. Now, you've just, caused me to think deeper. And I'm thinking now, so if I exist in 3D, what am I doing? Last night, it's funny that we're talking about this now. Last night before I slept, I was thinking, okay, Mangala, I am not this body. I am not the mind. So if I'm not the body, if I am not the mind, what am I?
You're bigger than that.
Yeah. And a lot of us don't question that. A lot of us don't know that we're way beyond the body. We're way beyond our minds. We are way bigger than all these things. Now, how do we help? I've been watching, conversations with Fr Lupupa, and I'm sure I'm asking on behalf of everybody. How do we help people get to this knowing? I know they know.
So it is important. You remember in one of the episodes we talked about awareness, consciousness, and knowing. Okay. A good example is this: there are people who are in a relationship. And then a relationship crashes. Why? Because you've discovered somebody's cheating on you. Okay? Now, you reduce your 100% of relationship to one incident of cheating. As if your whole life was about that incident. Now, that is very unfortunate. Why would somebody commit suicide? It's because they have reduced themselves to only that aspect of their life, which is very small. You see, your life, for instance, if somebody was to live for 75 years and you're only 24 years, and there is so much packed for you ahead of you, and something has just happened at 24 years on a particular day with a particular person, and then you make a conclusion that you are doomed. I mean, that is very unfortunate. So, reality and the three-dimensional way of existence is to look at that which is happening here and now, and then you scatter, you spread it over, and say, well, there is tomorrow. In fact, this which has happened, perhaps God has just allowed it for me to build up my strength for tomorrow. And this is why, when we look at what is happening now, that the planes are no longer flying, COVID-19 has come, there is our brother who is sick, our sister is sick. Now, look at the million years that the world has existed, and looking at only the last 6 months, then we conclude, no, we can't conclude.
True.
Life is bigger than what we experience. Exactly. Life is bigger than COVID-19. Life is bigger than my existence in the flesh, in my body. Tomorrow I will be no more physically speaking, but I will have evolved another level. Just like we're giving an example of water evaporating. Water is here. Wow, we have the water, the liquid. Then suddenly it's not there. But it is going to come as clouds. It is coming back as rain. But where has this come from? Now, this kind of discussion is going to make us very responsible ecologically, because we understand that one tree that we are pulling down is pulling ourselves down, because we are one with that tree. That the lack of attending to our environment is backfiring on us, because this reality is not in segments. Reality is the whole thing working together as a system. Okay, that's why when St. Paul talks about the body of Christ, the way the body functions, the eye is seeing on behalf of the foot. The mouth is eating on behalf of the stomach, and everything is working as a unit, as a system. So your life, my life, are all intertwined. And therefore, I have to take the responsibility of my brother, my sister. That is the reality. Because if I don't do that, then I don't understand that I am hurting myself. If I insult you, I've insulted myself. If I deny you anything, I've denied myself, because you and me are only one.
Yeah.
We're just one of us. That's why this group of people and the other group of people there, they're just one people, but time and space has separated them, and yet they are meant to live together.
I love that. There can only be one of us. So what I do to me, I'm doing to you.
I'm doing it to you. Whatsoever you do to the least of my brothers, that you do unto me. And Jesus picked it up and said, now, you are doing it to me. And God would say, you are doing it to me. That is why an insult to your brother, a hurting of your brother, is a sin against God.
It's true. It's no wonder when one person dies, you may not even have met them, but you feel the pain, because there's only one of us. Now I know this is your program, and I'm enjoying myself right now.
Our program.
Because there's only one of us. So what are some of the lessons that we think, that we want our viewers to pick?
So we want our viewers to be very hesitant to come to conclusions.
Yeah.
If you have watched Just for Laughs, I love that on YouTube, Just for Laughs. What makes you laugh is to see how the mind can be deceived so easily. You conclude that what you are seeing is reality, and yet they have just played on it. Somebody picks a doll and a real dog, and they swap them, and then they throw the doll, and you scream to say they have thrown the dog, and then they show you the real dog. So there is so much which we have taken as truth, which are untruth. So we want our viewers to take time to come to conclusions.
And to untruth, is there such a word?
And to untruth that which you think is true. Because you can't just hear something and come up to conclusion. You just read it on Facebook, you just read it, and then you're all over believing. And you don't know. There was this program that this guy was showing us on the social media that Obama didn't say this. Actually, they are showing Obama said something. And then they deconstructed how they came up with the voice of Obama saying...
And the face.
And the face, everything. It was just, doctoring the picture. So now, we are in this era where anything can be manufactured, where plastic looks real. So in life, therefore, you are not seeing the reality. You are not experiencing the whole totality of that which you think you have come close to. So watch your conclusions. Take time. Ask as many questions as possible. Be a questionnaire yourself and help others to arrive at the truth by asking many questions. It is only the scientific community that helps us become who we are, because in the lab they are asking questions. They are not in a hurry to arrive at an answer. That is why the scientific community will say there is a cure here for HIV. It says, well, we have to find out, we have to test, it has to pass all the stages. Okay, meaning that they want to come to the reality of a thing. If you understand the reality of a thing, then you have come to the knowledge of a thing. And what you have come to know has empowered you then to move around. What is fear? Fear is of the thing that you do not know. If you know it, you cannot fear it. You can just take precautions and then cover yourself. If you are wearing a mask because of you are afraid of COVID-19, then you have not come yet, because somebody will cheat you to say this thing is a hoax. But if you are a scientist who has come to understand, and you have even witnessed people catching the virus and so forth and dying, then you're wearing of a mask. Your masking becomes very real because it is coming from a knowing, a knowledge. You are not just imagining.
Oh, that's very powerful.
Another word about reality is imagination. Imagination is a gift that God has given us. We can only imagine what life is on the other side, where we cannot be. And yet, actually, imagination is telling us about the probability that we can be there.
Sure.
If you bury somebody and we choose to remain on the tombstone. We choose to remain on the picture. Nobody wants to imagine what's happening down there. So we avoid that kind of imagination.
Sure. So talking about imagination, so we only imagine the life that we've experienced, or we imagine basing it on our experiences. Is that right?
You cannot imagine outside.
Yeah.
When you look at the cartoons that the children watch, they are imagination, and that's how the mind of a child works, and that is how the children get glued to the cartoon. Why? Because their minds are all over, and the cartoonist has captured the child's mind. But he can only do that in the frame of the mind, the possible things that can happen.
That's powerful.
Nothing can happen outside that.
So what thought are you leaving for our viewers?
So my dearest viewer is to take through these stages of creating reality. Now, these are important if you want to create your reality. Number one, know that your mind in motion is creating thoughts, and thoughts are very powerful. And the thoughts are the ones that help you process reality. And what is reality? Reality is that which you are seeing, but you want to go beyond, meaning the five senses. So when you open your eyes, you are not yet seeing the reality. There is much more to what you are seeing, what you are hearing, what you are tasting. Then the word, what you have seen, what you have processed as your thought comes into word. You want to express it, you want to write it. If you want to come to some kind of shaping what you are thinking, write it down. Then you can play with the vocabulary, you can introduce new words until ideas, knowledge, chemistry, physics, politics, political science are ideas that have been shaped. That is very important. And finally, it's the action. Okay, action is what speaks louder than words. That speaks louder than our thoughts. So don't rush to action. Don't begin to change without going backwards. So you want to be in charge of your destiny. You want to experience reality as it's supposed to be experienced. Pay a lot of attention to your thoughts, a lot of attention to your emotions that are provoked by your thoughts, and watch what you are saying, because you may curse yourself and that can come to you into reality. You may deny your faith and that can come into reality. Watch what you are speaking. And then the manifestation. The manifestation simply means, where do you find yourself? With whom are you surrounded with? What are you touching? What are you eating? That is the manifestation of reality. Understand what you are eating. If it is contradictory to who you are, to your health, then it's not supposed to be there. Where are you? Are you in the oven? No, you can't be in the oven. Are you with these people who are contradicting your aspirations? Don't be with them. So these three, and including the emotion, which is the fuel, are very, very important. So that is what we can leave with our fellow brothers and sisters out there.
I like that. So that's my takeaway also. We create our own realities. And I found something very interesting. Emotions in motion.
In motion.
Yeah. So I like that.
Well, I believe that you have gotten one or two from our program, and particularly for me, I'm excited because as I speak about these things, they make my reality. And we're looking forward to host you, to be part of this dialogue, to be part of this conversation next week when we discuss emotional intelligence. That our emotions can think.
Oh, yes, they can.
And you can be very clever emotionally. There are people who have a lot of feelings, but they are not in control of their feelings.
Exactly.
That can lead to depression.
I like that. So now that we're able to create our realities, we can now take it further by managing our emotions. Emotional intelligence. That's what we're talking about.
That is it.
That is it.
Well, brothers, sisters, that has been Fr Lastone Robert Lupupa SJ with Conversations with Lastone Lupupa SJ. Bye-bye.
Bye.